Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Dillard. With me, as always, my co-host, Bailey Jackson. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm good, James. Ready for another Wacky Wednesday episode.
Hey, that's what streaming Instagram's doing.
That's right. But you know something, James? We have a very special guest tonight.
Yes, we do.
And I'm going to introduce him properly. He's already been on the show one time, but Washington, D.C. native and current Jacksonville, Florida resident. He's the all-time leader in assists, fifth all-time in ACC history in assists. His 857 assists are still in the top 25 in NCAA history. He was a member of the Clemson University basketball team from 84 to 88, and he was one of the leaders of the 86-87 team that set a school record for wins with 25. He was named an ACC legend in 2016. But more importantly, he has dedicated his life to assisting others, both on the court as a successful coach and off the court as a motivational speaker, author, entrepreneur, and mentor to many, many folks. So a special Fun Fans welcome to Mr. Grayson Marshall.
That sounds like somebody important. I appreciate y'all. That's all right.
Hey, man, I used to watch you play. I'm a little bit younger than you. So when I was a kid, I'll say, I used to watch you play because I was the only Clemson fan in my hometown when it came to basketball season.
You'd only write one. You'd only write
That's
one.
right. That's right.
Well,
you need somebody right.
And speaking of Grayson, and like you said, he was on the show and being a Clemson fan, one thing that I really like is, since I'm following him on social media now and talked to him a handful of times since he was on the show last, Grayson's a Clemson fan. And it really means a lot to us folks who were born and raised Clemson for the former athletes to be Clemson fans. So, Grayson, I appreciate that. And I'm sure a lot of other fans do as well. He's not just wearing what he's wearing for the show. Every time I see him go live or posting pictures on social media, he probably wears Clemson stuff more than I do.
No question. And I think, James, I think that being a fan is about embracing everything that the school encompasses. And I was fortunate enough to embrace almost everything the university has to offer. As a student, you get to experience things at one level. And as a player, you get to experience them from a whole nother level. And I think that when you have a mature space in life that you really appreciate and have a sense of gratitude, you have to just make concession for continuing to be a fan because it shaped your life. In one way or another, it shaped your life. And I think that's a mark of you really being grateful. That's what my frustration now with this whole NIL stuff is disheartening, because kids don't have a place to land. They don't have a place to call their own. You know, I look at DJ Uiagalelei, and he was at Clemson. He graduated. Then he goes to Oregon State. Now he's in the midst of the transfer portal again. And I get it's a sign of the times, but okay, where did you really go to school? You graduated from Clemson, but people are going to remember you from the last school you went to, and that's a school you're not even entrenched in. That's a school you're not even any more than playing a year of football for. So I do appreciate it. I do love my Tigers, and I want to see them all win. I was watching the soccer game the other night. We were sitting there watching the soccer team win a national championship.
Oh, yeah.
We watched the inaugural meet of the gymnastics, right? My daughter was a 5-time state champion gymnast here in Jacksonville, so I love gymnastics. I can't wait to go up there and see gymnastics in Little John Coliseum.
Yep. Well said. And that can be a whole nother podcast with the NIL stuff for sure.
You can do that. Definitely.
Interesting to see 20 years from now what those folks are saying as far as something along the lines of what Grayson's pointing out. But tonight we're here to talk about the Gator Bowl trip to Jacksonville, speaking of following the Tigers. And like we said in the intro, Grayson is a resident of Jacksonville, not originally from there, but he is going to be our resident expert on the fun things to do in Jacksonville. And so if we're going to just pretend we're going on the trip, the first thing you might do is to book a hotel. So Grayson, and some people may already have that part booked, but are there any hotels down there that you would recommend in Jacksonville? Stay a little bit out of town or what?
You know, Jay, here's the difference about Jacksonville, and I'll be honest with you. Jacksonville is the largest city per square mile in the whole United States. So the city itself is spread everywhere. You can get anywhere from affluence and modern to as country as Pendleton and due west, right? And all in the same city. So when you look at our city, we're a unique city, and I say this in this respect: our downtown is not our center. Our downtown is not where folks gather, right? It's where the stadium happens to be. But if you go in other cities, around the stadium, there's a lot to do. That's not the case here. It's a completely different animal when it comes here. So when you come to Jacksonville, the areas of note to something to do are the town center, which is where I live, and then obviously the beaches. Those are the two areas that have a lot for people to do, when it comes down to it. Again, being a unique town, this is more southern Georgia than Florida. When it comes down to it, the attitude and atmosphere is that same way. You're getting an influx of people that are moving from New York and California. A lot of companies relocated here. Amazon has 11 locations here. There's a lot of big companies and corporations, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or Florida Blue as they're called now, FIS. There's some major companies that are here in Jacksonville. But as far as somewhere to stay, proximity to the stadium, there aren't many hotels. That's one of the issues that Shad Khan is facing right now. When we had the Super Bowl here, when New England played Philly, we had to bring in cruise ships to be to the stadium to have enough rooms to qualify for what's necessary. So they've added so much more, but there really is no real area that you need to go. You can find everything within a good distance, but we don't have a public transportation system like in other cities, so you will have to drive or Uber everywhere. So I think the value is that the cost for going to a major city is nowhere near what it would be for Chicago, LA, or anywhere like that. So your dollar stretches here more in Jacksonville. But like I said, the areas of stay to do something would be the town center or the beaches.
I noticed that, Bailey, the hotel the Fun Fans landed is, I think it's about 30 or 45 minutes out. It's towards the beach from downtown. And
no,
Bailey,
it's not that far from the stadium.
Is it not that far?
No, it's not that far from the stadium. Be honest, James, there's no where they're having the tailgate is at Sneakers at the beach. And Sneakers is probably 18 miles from the stadium, maybe 20. It's straight up Beach Boulevard. So again, you're talking about a lot of space. Go ahead, BJ.
Bailey froze up on us again, it looks like, but maybe I searched it on Google during a high time of traffic or something. But either way, it wasn't what I was going to point out is, like you said, the price. It was a nice hotel. Don't remember, the stars or whatever, but the price was, something that you would expect in this area, not necessarily you said, big city, Chicago or something. So the price was good price.
I can tell you this. I just got back from a conference in Orlando, and your dollar doesn't go very far in Orlando.
No, it's a little different down it's a little different down in Disneyland. It's a little different down in Disneyland.
All right. Once we have our hotel, we got to eat.
Yep.
All right. So where are we going for dinner?
Let's see. If you're at the beach, depending on what you want, there's Margaritaville about 7 blocks from where we're going to be meeting at the tailgate. There's a Margaritaville there. There's a bunch of restaurants right then. There's the Brick, the Ritz. There's a couple new craft beer places right down across the street from where Sneakers is. Elegant restaurants. You got 11 South down there in Ponte Vedra. You have Pussers. You have obviously Ruth Chris. Ponte Vedra is where the TPC is. So where we're going to be at the tailgate is probably 7 miles from the TPC. Mm-hmm. So you got all that. You've got Aqua Grill, a bunch of restaurants down in Ponte Vedra. So again, from where we're going to be at the tailgate, 7 miles, you go into one of the most affluent areas in America in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Wow. You go 7 miles the other way down to Neptune Beach in the corner, and you'll find very affluent there, but different affluent. You'll find flip-flop affluent down in Neptune Beach, Atlantic Beach. You'll find Dockers and Colehans the other way, 7 miles apiece. But again, all along the beach, guys, there's a lot of food. So you can get as little as graffiti burger. You can get sushi. You can get a little bit of everything. I mean, there's a lot that's there and a lot that's different. Food trucks all over the beach too. So if you really wanted to scoot that thing on a budget, you can find your nice food truck right out there on 3rd Street. There's a Monkey's Uncle here. We got a little bit of everything. You want mellow mushroom. Again, we've got it all down there. So you can have the good part about the city is when I was explaining about all the differences from affluence to to country, you get all the same things in restaurants. You get high end to the food truck, all within the same 7-block radius. It's kind of neat.
Nice. And that's in reference to the location of the pep rally. And
Correct.
Bailey, I think you typed in the information on the pep rally. You want to share that?
Yeah, it's on the 28th. It's at 5:30 at Jacksonville Beach. It says on my daughter's schedule, Seawalk Pavilion, which I guess is right down there.
Right, Sneakers. So Seawalk Pavilion and Sneakers is right in the same place. So it's actually going to be at Sneakers, but Seawalk Pavilion is right there. There's an amphitheater there and some more stuff. And there's a Sheraton right across the street as well, which I'm sure a lot of people will book hotel rooms at.
Awesome. So that's definitely the one thing to do, and lots of places to eat. It sounds in that within
Absolutely.
a very close proximity to that same area. And speaking of the beach, so if there's a day to kill. So the beaches are open, I guess. What's the best place maybe to public access the beach down there?
Up and down the beach. Jacksonville Beach used to be the local beach where you would find the locals, and they acted like locals. They've enhanced the whole entire beach experience. They've upgraded it. They increased the amenities. The look is completely different. There's a lot of beach restaurants you can eat right on the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I love doing that.
But Riverside, let me tell you, Riverside is more of your eclectic part of town. So you have a bunch of restaurants over there as well that serve a different genre of people. So again, with the pockets of the city make this city unique. It's kind of hard to do in a couple of days because it is so spread out and you can't grab it all. But depending on what you like, this city offers a piece of it.
Very good. What about, so while I think about it, some folks I've heard are going to hang out. The Jaguars are playing. It's 2 or 3 days after our game.
They play Carolina. Carolina.
Yeah, the Panthers. That's kind of ironic. But so are there any suggestions for folks that are staying to see the Panthers play that might be a different type game day experience than going to the Gator Bowl? Because I know I've seen you at the Jaguars games as well.
Sundays at the Jaguar games is something else. We house the biggest screen in the NFL when it comes to the board. So, I mean, when you look at our game day experience, it is like no other. Now, I will say this. I enjoy Clemson more than I enjoy the game day experience here, just because it seems more genuine, and because I have a history there. Tailgating is completely different in Clemson than it is here, although they do it. But what we have to offer, there's an amphitheater called Daly's Place right next to the stadium. There's a lot that goes on within that stadium, and Shad Khan and the group down there. They do an amazing job putting on the game day experience. Being a Jags fan is fun, and it has to be because the winning has been sporadic, but the fan support has been nothing short of amazing. So coming to it is awesome. Evie just went to her first game, and she's from Canada, so she went to her first game this last Sunday. And we're up in the Terrace Suites, and it was just, again, the whole experience is like being at the box in Clemson. The buffet was unbelievable. The view was incredible, and just watching them do everything but win made the whole night amazing.
Yeah. Grayson, I think you probably need to work for the Chamber of Commerce. So some great information. I want to know, have you ever been in the swimming pool at the stadium?
Been in the swimming pool at the stadium.
Okay.
And again, it's its own different experience. It's kind of weird. You do that early in the season, September, pre-game. That's when you get in there. By the time you get to the regular season, God knows what's happening in that pool. Yeah. I wouldn't suggest you to jump in there. After you jump in and splash and get back out, just say you did it. I think it's one of those things. But no, it's, again, the uniqueness of it, and the complete BJ, the fan experience is like no other. I can honestly say that. And we've had Redskins season tickets since 1957. Right. So it's not that I've been unaware of sports around my world, but this is something special here in Jacksonville.
Cool. It sounds like and it is a great, Jacksonville is located in a very prime position to take advantage of the beach and that type thing. I remember going to the Gator Bowl, I'm going to say back in the day, back when we were in college, right out of college, everything was at that Jacksonville landing, and the beaches were something that you just didn't fool with in Jacksonville.
Which is one of the which is one of the things that they ruined with this city taking a landing down. It took away the centerpiece of downtown. The Jacksonville Landing used to be the destination spot to come to Jacksonville. That's turned into now what's the town center, which again is about 13 miles away, about 11 miles away from downtown, which is where all
that's
the
where we're
energy is
staying.
happening. Yeah,
Town center.
Yeah, that's where our hotel is.
And
Okay.
that's where I live. So we're right around the corner. But I can say this: not only is it strategic, James, in location for the city, but when I moved here, I looked at the access to everywhere I wanted to be. So from Jacksonville, I'm 2 hours from Orlando. I am 4.5 hours from Fort Lauderdale. I'm 5.5 hours from Miami. I'm 5 hours from Atlanta. I am 2 hours from Savannah. I'm 4 hours from Charleston. 6 hours from Clemson. You know what I mean? I can get to Alabama in 5 hours. I mean, from here, and the airport access is like no other. So the ability to move from where I need to go and the ability to experience destination resorts, this city sets up for, because I could get up at 5 a.m. and be in Miami by 10. And I literally don't lose a day in vacation. I still get there because of the time I get it there. So there's a lot that's there. There's a lot that this city affords. And again, being a military town, and the median income here being about $42,000, there's a different mentality of people that's here. So it kind of lends to, again, small town, big city. And again, you get the best combination and get to enjoy. I get to enjoy Florida weather with a touch of coolness and coldness, in the winter months. So it is a good balance.
Well, that sounds. Sometimes it takes me 4 hours to get to Charleston.
Oh yeah,
we can get there, and I can get to Myrtle Beach in 6. I can get to Hilton Head in 3. I mean, so we can get. And as much golf as I love to play, there's so many places I can get to in 3.5, 4 hours and play a good round of golf. So you leave here at 6 a.m, get somewhere, have a tee time by noon, play till 4, and I can be back home.
No. You're speaking Bailey's language now for sure.
Good.
Without a doubt. Or are there any other things must sees, places and must check out while folks are in Jacksonville?
No, I think again, it's that this is the beauty and the downside of it. Obviously the city is rich in culture. The Ritz Theater is here. There's a lot of history of color here. James Weldon Johnson. I mean, there's a lot that went on in Jacksonville. I just got back from Kansas City and went to the Negro League Museum. And there was so much I learned that I didn't know. There's a lot that I knew because I love baseball. But there was so much that I didn't know. And one of the things I didn't realize was that Jackie Robinson actually played minor league baseball here in Durkeeville. Wow. There were so many things I didn't realize about the city of Jacksonville that was rich in some of this history. But from a music standpoint, the Ritz, there's some amazing museums here, the Cummer Gallery of Art. There's a lot to do from that side of it. Plenty of parks. Jacksonville is just kind of a relaxed place, and it's really a place where you become a local and you kind of live that world. Not fast paced. It's in the nightclub town. You won't find a lot of that here. We have 3 military bases here. You got Mayport, NAS, and you have Cecil Field. And Mayport has your typical Navy bars, but nothing out of the norm or nothing over the top. So I think that's where it is. You're still in the Bible Belt, James. So Sunday's still sacred here, and First Baptist Church owns everything downtown just about. So you got a very, very God-centered, God-cultured community here.
Well, I read something that said you drive north in Florida and you don't get to the south until you get to Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
And so that it's like being in Georgia or South Carolina. So it's, I'm looking forward to the trip and go have a good time in Jacksonville.
Hospitable, but that couldn't be described, Bailey, any better. You drive north and you don't get to the south till you get to Jacksonville. And that is the honest truth. It couldn't be said any better.
Well, before we go, one last thing. There is a football game going on. We've covered the most important pieces of the Gator Bowl and the Gator Bowl trip, but I guess we do need to talk for just a quick second. Grayson, get your what's your take on the game, the Tigers versus the Wildcats?
Yeah, I think we're better. Kentucky has been a solid program over the last 5 or 6 years. They've risen to that second tier, and they're maybe the top of that second tier. I think the downside is that giving these guys the option to play in the bowl game takes away from what it could be. I mean, we're losing. And again, I don't fault the kids. But here's my thing. You played 3 years and never missed a game. Now you want to miss the bowl game. I mean, the stakes were just as high in any one of those other games. But now you leave it. Losing Jeremiah Trotter, God Makumba, and them are in the portal. What's the DB's name? I'm losing it. Number
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
I mean,
I wanted to see him play one more time. Goodness gracious, that boy was something. He was something else. But again, we have 5 freshmen back there that were just unbelievable. I can't wait to see them really get a chance to see what our depth looks like. Seeing Peter Woods and see those guys really step up. Now I don't think Kentucky lost as many as we did that are going in there, so I think they're probably coming more full of what they had all year, which obviously paints its own challenge. I think that's where this whole NIL thing and the transfer portal makes it unfair. I'm looking at the Florida State and Georgia game. Nobody's playing that game.
Right.
I mean, literally, there's about 20 kids from Georgia, 15 kids from Georgia that aren't playing either transfer portal or turn pro, and the same thing with Florida State. So it's like, why these games used to have meaning, and now they're taking away a bunch of it. But I believe in my Tigers no matter what. I was hoping we had 9 wins already because I wanted to see us get to double digits one more time and keep that going. But I think that they played well down the stretch. I think Cade is settling into learning what it really is to be that guy. But I think we just need more weapons. I'd love to see us do more vertical down the field and really give some of those guys a chance to shine. But I think that what we're doing there is sticking to a plan of still recruiting. I looked at the thing that we had 2 5-stars, I think 7 4-stars, and 11 3-stars or something. So Dabo's still in that space, but I think the times have changed, and you got to get in that portal. If nothing else, for depth, I think that's the place. But I want to see the Tigers victorious. I think Clemson is a Tiger town. There's a lot of Clemson people here. When I first moved here, there was a huge Clemson alumni here, and the group that we have here meets anywhere from 20 to 50 people watching a game with our one group. So it'll be a good host city for everybody that's coming. And we're excited to have our team here. I said it early on when I saw the league kind of shaping up. I said, man, can I get my Tigers in Jacksonville? And so I'm excited about that.
That'd be awesome.
What I would like to add to that is I would look at it as a chance for these guys that haven't played as much. Hey, this is why I play at Clemson University. This is why they recruited me. And I think there's some motivation for those guys that are going to get more minutes now. But you talked about weapons. Antonio Williams will be back for the bowl game. And I think everybody will realize just how much we missed him all year as a threat, as a game breaker. So I'm looking forward to it. And, I'm gonna pull for the Tigers. I don't care who they have.
Me too.
Who they playing.
So, amen.
That's Tigers. Right.
Yeah, National Signing Day, and we're talking about restaurants and where to hang out on the beach here at the Fun Fans Podcast, because that's how we roll. We pull for the Tigers,
absolutely,
regardless, no matter what. So that's awesome information. Everybody just needs to favorite this thing, share it with you folks that are going, so they can get this information from the real GM.
That's
who
me.
We got to plug real quick. And the other thing, I've been following him, and I missed. He had a session, an event in Clemson that was nearby. There's a lot of motivation for us guys that comes from Grayson. It seems like that's been a focus that you mentioned, I think, last time you were on the show. So you want some good motivation. He's got not just his social media, but the extended part of that, which is what he does. It can put you in the right space from a mental standpoint, and it's specifically for us men, because
absolutely. James, if they go to YouTube and search out, it starts with men. That's my YouTube channel, and it's really about men. It really is about the challenge of men, the perplexing life that we live, the weight that we carry, the struggle that we endure, and the need for camaraderie and support. I think that there's a big piece of society that's needing men, that's missing men. You can't replace us, even though society wants to have people believe that you can create a different person and make a different person by wearing our clothes. You can't wear our clothes and make a man. I'm sorry about that. But at the same time, society does present a major challenge to us in what we can do, how we can parent, how we can support, how we can lead and train, how we can rebuke and reprove. All those things are different now. So men need to be encouraged like never before. There's an intent to emasculate us like crazy. And what I share with people is that when we look at men were made first by God in the image and likeness of him. And he made one man out of the dust of the earth, and he never made another man that way. Every other man was made between the connection of a man and a woman. So he knew what he wanted in the beginning, and he knew who the responsible one was going to be for everything. The actual job that we had in the garden before there was an Eve was to subdue, have dominion, take control, name everything. You're in charge of everything. So everything is under our covering. And I think that we've gotten away from that order being important. We've got a society that's taught women that, or encouraging women that being a mother and being a wife is not enough. So you need to go be something else. Well, if you're going to be something else, who's going to be you? But the responsibility still falls on us. So it starts with men. Everything, no excuses, no nothing. We have to be men. There's things we have to own. There's things we have to account for. There's things we have to cover. And there's a way to do that respectfully. There's a way to do that with encouragement and enthusiasm. And there's a way to do that that will lead to better men coming behind us. So that's why it's important for me. And everything that I do now, from the new clothing line that's coming out called Manicure, Present Your Best Self. You'll love that motivational line. It'll be launched. Matter of fact, it's ready now, but I'm waiting till the first of the year to launch it. New podcast coming. I'm doing conversations with the coach. So it's just really talking about those things. And I want men to get to a place where they can audibly say how they feel without feeling judged, without feeling less than, without feeling weak, but feeling like I need answers here. I need some discussion here. I need some perspective here. And that's what I believe God's given me to do, and I won't do anything less.
Amen. I think that's important as well. So check out Grayson's stuff online, touch base with him, plug into his system and what he's got going on. And we appreciate everybody joining us here tonight. Holiday show, holiday rerun with the Fun Fans over the weekend if you want to check us out. But it is Christmas, so we will be celebrating Jesus' birthday, and we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas over the weekend. But we will be back live from Jacksonville, whatever day of the week it is, the day before we're going to be back next week. But you'll see us down there in Florida, and we appreciate you checking us out. So make sure you share this with the folks who are going to the trip, and subscribe to our Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel, as well as the podcast on your favorite platform. And on behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, J Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, Bailey Jackson and Grayson Marshall.
Hey, Grayson, thanks for being with us tonight, man. I always enjoy it, and go Tigers.
Absolutely. Go Tigers. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Go Tigers.